I'm going to take Chicago, the favorite in London, -4.5. A better organization will travel well than a chaotic one if you have to go to Europe. By the way, I don't believe the Bears going to a backup is a true backup. Chase Daniel, to me, is as good as Mitch Trubisky. I don't think it's worth more than a half a point. The Bears' defense this year, second or third in every meaningful category. In fact, Khalil Mack has 17 sacks since the start of last year. The Raiders have 18 as a team. And yes, the Bears can be limited at quarterback, but they're tied for the NFL's best turnover differential, +6. So they got limitations at quarterback, but they don't make a lot of mistakes. I'll take the Bears to win and cover 29-23. I'm going to take Arizona to win their first game, +3 with Kyler Murray. So with Cincinnati, I got their two dynamic perimeter players, A.J. Green and John Ross, out. I don't have a dynamic quarterback, so where do I get dynamic playmakers? Cincinnati can't do anything. They can't score. They can't rush. They're bad in the red zone. Arizona has issues. But Arizona's got a playmaker in Kyler Murray, a creative head coach, Larry Fitzgerald. I do feel like in a low-scoring game with two bad offensive lines, at least I have guys on Arizona's side that can make plays. By the way, Cincinnati's become a bad football team, 2-13 in their last 15 games. Cincinnati's awful. And I don't think there's a lot of hope in that locker room. I think Arizona's got all sorts of hope. I'm going to take the Cardinals with the upset, +3, 26-24. Oh, Tampa Bay's so amazing. No, they're not. They're a losing franchise that had a good Sunday. The Saints are a winning franchise for 15 years. I'm going to take the Saints -3 at home. The bottom line in betting, take the team who you think is going to win the game, right? Like, generally, don't worry about points. I think New Orleans is a better football team. So New Orleans and Tampa, the line is 3. Are you telling me the only difference is the Superdome? That you think these teams are even? Because that's what a 3-point spread says. These are even teams, and New Orleans' only advantage is playing at home. Nonsense. But they are playing at home where they're 15-2 the last 2 years. And outside of a bad officiating call, they could be 16-1 the last 2 years. And since the start of last season, Tampa Bay has allowed 30 points 11 times, most in the NFL. I think New Orleans gets off on some points this weekend after being, they kind of had to pick and choose getting their points against a good Dallas D. New Orleans wins. They're the better team here. The line should be bigger. I'm betting a number. New Orleans 30, Tampa Bay 23. I'm taking another favorite. I'm going to take Minnesota -4.5. So this week I wrote down the 10 best players in this game at home on a piece of paper. Vikings had 9 of them. This is a personnel mismatch. Minnesota was embarrassed last week. Good rosters and good coaches that are embarrassed bounce back. And by the way, Kirk Cousins, last 2 years following a loss, is actually pretty good. He's not good in prime time, but the week after he loses in prime time, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The Giants haven't won 3 straight games in 3 years. This is a talent mismatch. Now, I don't think Kirk Cousins is great, but I think he's as good as a rookie quarterback. And I also think, it's a 1 o'clock start. It's not a primetime game. He can hide a little bit, and I'm gonna swallow the 4.5. Take Minnesota. 10 best players. I got 9 of them being Vikings. 30-23 Minnesota. I'm going to take points here. This feels obvious to me. This feels like really obvious. I get a significantly better quarterback, and I get over a field goal. I'll take Green Bay +3.5. Listen, the Cowboys in the first 3 weeks were one offense, and then last week against New Orleans, they were a second offense. What are they? My guess is somewhere in between. The Packers defense ranks top 3 in yards allowed, takeaways, they're 4th, 7th in scoring. And again, this is an Aaron Rodgers team, so they don't give it back to you. So they're not going to give Dak a short field and Zeke in that offensive line a short field. This is a Green Bay team that is upgraded defensively. They're very good in the first half. That could take the crowd out of it in Dallas. And I think it's a real urgent game for Green Bay. I think it feels like after being humiliated on a standalone Thursday night game, the whole world watched Green Bay at home get pushed around. I think their defense says, okay, fellas, come on. I think Green Bay is going to win this game outright. They're getting 3.5 points. I think they're going to win it outright, close 27-26. Yeah, I have a rule, Joy. I've done this for years. If a good unit gets embarrassed, I think the Packers defense is good, and gets humiliated, they'll play well the next week. So I got, there's my Blazing 5 picks. Feel good about it. And by the way, a lot of you are probably saying, how can you take Arizona? When you got two bad teams, but you have playmakers on one of the bad teams, Arizona, you take it. So once again, I'm going to take the Bears minus 4.5, Arizona plus 3, Saints minus 3, Minnesota minus 4.5, and Green Bay is going to win outright plus 3.5 against Dallas. I was kind of surprised at that line. I would have thought it would have
that
been,
is surprising.
Yeah, I think Green Bay is right now with that quarterback in this urgent spot. It should have been closer to a pick 'em. I think Green Bay is going to be a better team. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.